Good morning, India. How are you doing today? And breaking right now for our viewers in Telangana is the widespread panic as more and more cities go into a virtual lockdown, including our very own Telangana. The details are coming in right now. Also breaking right now is the approval granted by the Telangana Chief Minister KCR towards the release of Rupees 500 crores for preventive measures against the coronavirus. Authorities just revealing that the Chief Minister insists that there is still no need for panic. This morning, we also find out that India is trying its best to halt the deadly virus in stage 2. Starting from today, which is Monday, the Supreme Court has also decided to limit its functioning to halt the spread of the deadly COVID-19 virus. Also, crisis in the banking sector refuses to end. Last but certainly not the least, the COVID-19 has also managed to rattle the Indian badminton fraternity as well, with India's top badminton star, Saina Nehwal, worried about her career in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. And the centre declares COVID-19 as a disaster, a first for any pandemic in history. From CVR English, live at Jubilee Hills, Monday, March 16th, 2020. This is Good Morning India. So if you have grabbed your cup of chai, let's get right to that first breaking news, shall we? So I have got the top English newspaper, Times of India, as well as Deccan Chronicle on my CVR English news desk right now. And friends, let me show this paper to you. We have got at least 5 different headlines, all related to the one and only coronavirus right now. Friends, the novel coronavirus is once again back in the news as the state of Telangana has finally ordered a shutdown in all the schools, colleges, clubs and theatres. The Telangana government yesterday on Sunday became the 9th state in the country to shut down with immediate effect most establishments in the state that see large public gatherings. This move was announced by the Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao after a cabinet meeting as a preventive measure to check the widespread of the coronavirus. This closure order has directly affected all educational institutions starting today on Monday. So none of the schools and colleges will be working today and the students can sit back at home and relax. However, the staff is still expected to report for work. We also have clubs, gymnasiums, the zoo, cinema halls, bars, pubs and all kinds of public meetings, seminars and public swimming pools being shut down effectively from today. KCR has also confirmed that each and every educational institution starting from the primary schools right up to the university level would remain closed till the 31st of March. However, this move does not apply to the ongoing CBSE board exams, including those in the government residential hostels, and these will continue as scheduled with special sanitization measures. But the IT firms at Mindspace and Brightspace in Hyderabad have been ordered to work from home to avoid any contamination cases coming up in the recent past. However, places like hotels, shops, offices, the airport, railway stations, bus and metro stations will continue to function as usual. In the meanwhile, panic seems to be rising high in Hyderabad as one more person has tested positive for COVID-19. A day after the first COVID-19 positive patient was discharged from the Gandhi hospital, another 24-year-old woman, this time from Kothagudem, has tested positive for the coronavirus on Saturday. She had also just returned to Hyderabad from Italy on 7th of March. 2 of her family members have also been rushed to Gandhi hospital in Hyderabad after they too developed some symptoms, some flu-like symptoms. At the same time, as a precautionary measure, samples of 2 other patients who returned from Jeddah were sent to the National Institute of Virology in Pune after their preliminary tests showed a high viral load. So it's always better to be safe than sorry. It could be in all probability just a normal mild viral flu-like infection, but we never know, and it is always a good idea to be safe than sorry. So all these samples have been sent to Pune for immediate testing to figure out whether this virus is just a normal virus or the novel coronavirus. Also arriving fresh at our CVR English desk just now for the first time ever, please friends, let me tell you that the Lord Balaji Hill Shrine atop Tirumala with the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanams, or TTD as we call it, has decided to cancel some of the daily and the weekly rituals, as well as restricting the congregation of the pilgrims for religious events over this coronavirus threat. Some of the senior TTD officials on Sunday have told us that never ever in the history of Tirumala had TTD resorted to such a contingency plan such as this, which means that none of the rituals, none of the holy prayers have ever been cancelled. It could be the weekly prayers or the daily prayers which happen on a daily basis, but none of them have ever been cancelled. But this time, because of the coronavirus scare, such a severe move has been taken. And that's not all. The coronavirus is not done. Like I told you, that taking into consideration Times of India alone, I can see at least 5 different headlines related to the coronavirus only. Leave alone the other headlines. So we are not done with the virus right now. The menacing coronavirus is making 3 more hot headlines today. So let's start with Delhi, our national capital. Now, India has reported its second COVID-19 death on Friday, with a 68-year-old woman from Delhi who had tested positive for this novel coronavirus, and she succumbed to this infection. The woman's son had recently returned from Europe, and he had also earlier tested positive for the virus. Now, it only makes sense for the virus to get passed on to the mother. The death of this 68-year-old woman, who was from West Delhi precisely, and she is also the mother of the another confirmed case, and this another confirmed case was definitely her son. However, the medical authorities are telling us that this woman died also due to comorbidity. Now, in scientific terms, comorbidity is a situation where a person is suffering from 2 or more diseases at the same time, and in the case of this woman, she had been suffering from diabetes as well as hypertension at the same time. This is what the health ministry is telling CVR English late at night yesterday. And as you might know already by now, that on 10th March, a 76-year-old man from Kalburgi in Karnataka with COVID-19 symptoms had also died, and test results on Thursday had confirmed that he had tested positive for the novel coronavirus, making this aged man with a travel history to Saudi Arabia India's first COVID-19 fatality. Now, moving on to the second headline, also being brought to you by the coronavirus, and this one is quite not surprising, as sooner or later this was bound to happen. And what was bound to happen was this: as is usually seen with most of the incidents which happen in our country, the novel coronavirus outbreak in our country has also finally become the latest target of politicization. The first Indian fatality has finally sparked a blame game or a debate between Telangana and Karnataka, and has exposed the state of surveillance of our suspected patients. While the Telangana authorities are busy blaming Karnataka for letting this suspected patient travel, authorities in Kalburgi are constantly maintaining that he had left against their medical advice. A day after the tests in Bengaluru confirmed that the 76-year-old man who died on the 11th of March was positive for the novel coronavirus, it emerged that he had left a private hospital in Kalburgi 2 days before his death and travelled all the way to Hyderabad. Now, the district authorities have said that he left without their knowledge, even as his samples had been sent for testing. Now, once this man arrived here in Hyderabad, this man went to the state-run Gandhi hospital but left once again without any further testing. Now, this patient and his family roamed about in the entire city of Hyderabad, moved about in the central part of the city precisely, and finally reached the old city where they stayed over with a relative. Over the next 2 days, he got himself admitted to a private hospital after having visited 2 others that denied him admission in the first place. Now, when he was once again urged to once again go to a government hospital, this man did not follow that medical advice and headed home instead. On the way, the man died within an hour of leaving this private hospital in Hyderabad. The third headline, I'm still not done with the coronavirus, my friends. The third headline tells us that India is desperately trying to halt the spread of this deadly virus in stage 2. according to the Director General of the Indian Council of Medical Research. Now, friends, India currently is in stage 2 of the COVID-19 outbreak, a stage where, let me make you aware of the different stages of any spread of any disease. Now, what happens in stage 2 is that this is a stage where the disease transmission is solely limited to those with a travel history to the affected countries and the others in contact with this infected person. And our government's efforts right now are geared towards halting or at least delaying the progression of this disease to the next stage. The Indian Council of Medical Research Director General Balram Bhargav has told us. After stage 2 comes stage 3. Let me tell you, this is the stage where the disease starts spreading through the local community. And then this is followed by stage 4, when the disease takes on the shape of a full-fledged epidemic, when the ongoing transmission shows no clear endpoint. And right now, as all of you know, and if you don't know, let me tell you that China and Italy across the globe are in stage 4, the dangerous stage 4 of the COVID-19 outbreak. That is why we see so many cases erupting in China and Italy on a regular basis compared to the other countries. So as far as India is concerned, the progression to the next stage, which is stage 3, may eventually happen according to the scientists. But by delaying it, India is making itself better prepared to localize and contain this situation. Dr. Bhargav says that India currently has around a 30-day window to halt the beginning of the community transmission, the local community transmission of COVID-19 cases. So the time to act is now, or if we want to be more specific, the time to act is within 30 days from now. That is the window which is available to us. And this has been told to us by the genuine scientific community. So I'm sure that this news is quite accurate. And even before I can close in on the first headline, I'm getting some fresh updates at the CVR English studio right now from the Health Ministry, stating that as of now, Monday, March 16th, more than 100 COVID-19 positive cases have been confirmed in India. So let's be safe, let's be alert, and let's be together in this fight against the coronavirus. And as we all know, if there is a problem, sooner or later, a solution is inevitable and will emerge in the form of a powerful vaccine which can tackle and beat this virus right in its infancy. So keeping our fingers crossed, let's wait for the scientific community to get back to us on this. So that wraps up all the major headlines related to the coronavirus so far. Meanwhile, over the last weekend, we also saw our government authorities constantly requesting the masses to avoid all kinds of public gatherings to reduce the risk of the coronavirus infections. Now, even the apex court of our country, the Honorable Supreme Court, on last Friday, 13th of March, has decided to cut down on its work and limit its functioning from today, which is Monday, when it reopens after the holy break. It has decided to set up only a limited number of benches to hear only the most or the top urgent cases to prevent the possible spread of the novel coronavirus. Now, this move will, however, postpone the hearing on 3 national issues which are bothering the system right now: the faith versus the fundamental rights, validity of the CAA or the Citizenship Amendment Act, and the centre's decision to scrap Article 370. So apart from these 3 national key issues, the Supreme Court will be functioning, but only for the most urgent cases which strike our country in this global health crisis scenario. Well, that wraps up the coronavirus officially, and moving on to the other big headline which is plaguing the nation and especially the customers of Yes Bank right now. And I can find this major headline here on page 13 right here, this copy of Times of India which I have from today, and on page 13 I can find a very important piece of information, a very important piece of update regarding Yes Bank. So let me quickly share that with you, friends, quickly making our way to Yes Bank, where we are currently witnessing an ongoing crisis. But going by the latest update on this Monday morning, this latest update which is available for all of you to read on Times of India, page 13. Going by the latest update on the money lender, and these updates are being reported by Times of India and Deccan Chronicle both. The restrictions on Yes Bank depositors that were imposed by a Reserve Bank of India moratorium on 5th March back in the day will be lifted from the middle of this week. So let's say that around the 18th of March, that's Wednesday. So around Wednesday, we may get a respite from this moratorium and the Yes Bank citizens can expect some relief. So that's a big sigh of relief right there. I'm sure that the customers of Yes Bank who are watching this update on their television screens right now are doing the same with their cup of chai. On Saturday, Bandhan Bank and Federal Bank have also committed rupees 300 crores each to Yes Bank equity, joining the ranks of 4 other banks and taking the total tally up to rupees 10,950 crores as of now. Well, that update puts things into a more positive and a hopeful perspective for Yes Bank, and it looks like the rescue plan, which was initiated last week by the SBI and the RBI together, has finally begun to take a practical shape and is producing some concrete results. That is a good change for Yes Bank customers, of course. Let us hope for things to become more hopeful than they are today. And I'm sure that they will. And I'm sure the customers of Yes Bank are also hoping for the same thing. With almost every sector of life getting affected by the coronavirus scare, how can sports be left behind? And India and sports go hand in hand. So I have some latest updates in the sports department coming in from the Deccan Chronicle as well as the Times of India on today's CVR English's news desk. Monday, the 16th, 2020, this copy of Toy as well as Deccan Chronicle is giving me a very interesting piece of update, and this update has also got something to do with the coronavirus. Now, amid this entire drama which has been taking place since the last week, we also found out that the Indian badminton fraternity is also getting rattled by this virus. So initially we found out that the BCCI has decided to postpone the IPL, and Saurav Ganguly is also supporting this move because he feels that the health of the citizens of India is of topmost priority right now. So after cricket got hit by the virus scare, now it is time for badminton, and badminton is also gaining quite a lot of momentum these days in our country. So how could the badminton players of India be left behind? Now, top English newspapers today are telling us that the coronavirus outbreak has cast its dark shadow on the Indian shuttlers' Olympic dreams. A slew of international badminton championships have been postponed, and the future of Indian Open, Malaysian Open and Singapore Open is also hanging in the balance. Sadly, the travel advisory which has been issued by India's Ministry of Health has only increased the Indian players' worries. India's badminton contingent right now, let me tell you right now, is currently in the UK for the All England Open, and they are quite a worried lot, ruining that their chances of qualifying for Tokyo Olympics, which is just around the corner, will be destroyed if the upcoming tournaments in India get cancelled. The Commonwealth Games gold medalist, who I'm sure all of you know, Parupalli Kashyap, recently wrote to the Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan on Twitter. And these shuttlers had also travelled to Spain for the Barcelona Masters earlier, which was held between the 18th to 23rd of February. Now, what happens because of this situation is that Spain currently is also a red hot spot for the viral infection. Most of the cases are emerging from Italy and Spain. Now, these players are worried that if they get quarantined upon their return to India for 2 weeks, they will not be able to go and play for the Swiss Open and the India Open. Kashyap says that because of this problem, some of the top players of India have decided to go to Switzerland directly so that they can take part at least in the Swiss Open. Now, some of the players, especially India's top star Saina Nehwal, have a good chance of qualifying for the Olympics. So the Indian players don't want to give that chance up. Now, this is a big problem which is plaguing the Indian badminton talent, and I believe that the authorities should look into this scenario, and if at all, because of the coronavirus global scare, we need to shut down any kind of public mass gatherings, then it would be in the best interest for the players to get all the tournaments and all the championships, the upcoming championships, to get halted. It would be a good move on the behalf of the international sports authorities to be in tandem with each other, to be on the same board with each other, and make sure that all these upcoming future tournaments get postponed so that the talent from India does not get affected and gets an equal chance like the other badminton players from across the globe in proving their talent And people like Saina Nehwal have a great chance of bringing a gold or a silver back home from all these tournaments. So talent like this should not be disregarded, and we need to make sure that these championships get postponed for the time being, and our Indian players do not miss out on these championships because of the compulsory 14-day quarantine period that they need to go through if they happen to return to India. And in that case, they might just end up missing out on these championships, and that would be a very sorry state of affairs. That's what I feel. What do you feel? Let us know in the comments section of CVR English Official's YouTube channel. Well friends, like I said, the headlines today are flooded with COVID-19 predominantly. The papers are right there for you to see. All headlines, most of the headlines are dedicated to the COVID-19, and this is not surprising considering that the total number of COVID-19 positive patients has now exceeded 100. My job is to bring to you a detailed analysis of these headlines so that you don't have to spend extra time on a newspaper, considering your hectic schedule and your busy schedules. And I know all of you are very busy people, so instead of catching up on all the newspapers by going through them and reading through them page by page, it is better to get a quick analysis right in the morning, isn't it? All you health and wealth champions out there. Well, the day has just started. There's a lot to accomplish today, a lot to be achieved, isn't it? And we are also done catching up with the latest headlines of the day to keep us up to date with the world and our nation. You can take on the world only and only if you are up to date with it, isn't it? That's what our elders used to tell us when we were growing up as children. I'm sure you must be done with your cuppa chai or filter coffee as well. Once again, let me remind you, wash your hands with soap and water regularly. Practice personal hygiene, avoid shaking hands with each other, stick to a namaste. That is the best strategy, just like Mamata Banerjee from West Bengal is also propagating amongst the masses quite ferociously these days, let me tell you. So avoid shaking hands with one another, stick to the Indian norm of namaste, drink lots of water, keep your throat moist as the COVID-19 is a very sticky virus by nature. This information keeps coming to us regularly from the scientist friends of our very own Chief Minister KCR. This virus tends to stick to your skin or your internal nasal and food passages. Well, this interesting piece of information had also been reported in one of the latest copies of Toy recently, and I also remember having shared that information with you back then. But at the cost of sounding repetitive, and it is okay for me to be repetitive right now because India is facing a global health crisis. So let me repeat for all those who did not catch on to that important piece of information last week. This coronavirus, as has been told by the scientist community, is a very sticky virus by nature, and it tends to stick to your nasal passages and food passages, and also the surface of your hands in case you happen to step out and get in touch with some dirty public surfaces or public spaces where you might put your hand on a dirty surface, a dirty table or a dirty hand railing, for example. So in case the virus is sitting on those dirty public surfaces, it gets easily transmitted to the surface of your own skin. So if you want to flush it out of your system, make sure you are drinking lots of water. And one more reason why you should do that is that the moment the COVID-19 virus reaches your stomach, the HCl or the hydrochloric acid in your stomach, which creates a very acidic environment, has a very low pH, does not allow the virus to multiply or survive. So that is a very useful piece of information. The reason why people are telling you to drink lots and lots of water and to stay hydrated is this: because in case the coronavirus ends up getting inside your mouth and then ends up traveling all the way to your esophagus and your food passages, because of its sticky nature, it will tend to stick to the internal surfaces of your food passages, and it can survive there for 3 to 4 days, a period of time which is more than enough to make your body infected with this virus. So the moment you drink water, this virus, because of the flow of water, this virus, because of the force of the running water or the flowing water going downwards, inwards, also has a tendency to detach from the internal surface of the esophagus and move downwards along with the water. The moment it gets in contact with the hydrochloric acid, it gets destroyed. So that is the reason we need to make sure that we stay hydrated during this summer season as well, this hot summery season. Also, I would advise you to eat healthy, eat lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, get some vitamin C, natural vitamin C inside your body, get some exercise, sleep well, and keep your immunity up, because right now with this global crisis, your immunity is your first and foremost and also the best weapon against the coronavirus. And speaking of easing people's fears in this incredibly stressful moment, I have some practical tips for managing your anxiety in this ongoing global health crisis. So how worried should we be? If you ask me, then honestly, yes, we need to be worried about it so that we can take some preventive measures to safeguard ourselves. But having said that, at a time when we are being constantly bombarded with scary news about the coronavirus, it is hard not to be anxious. So how do you deal with this anxiety? So here are some practical tips to deal with your anxiety right now, coming straight from the horse's mouth. I'm the horse in that case. Get some sleep, move your body, even if it is just about taking a walk outside in the park. If you are feeling isolated, feeling lonely, feeling down, call a friend or call somebody who you can trust. Stay informed. We have a lot of information coming out from the internet. We have a lot of information being shared with us by the scientific community from all the top English newspapers which are getting printed in Hyderabad every day. So stay informed, but there is a fine line between staying informed and obsessing. So inform yourself with the correct news, with the correct information, scientific information, but don't obsess, don't overthink. And finally, meditation and yoga has been shown to help. So stay alert and stay safe. And on that precautionary note, it's time for me to also say bye-bye to all of you until tomorrow, when we will catch up once again with the latest dose of the hottest headlines from across the state of Telangana, Andhra Pradesh and across the world. Until then, on behalf of CVR English, this is your host Anukriti Govind Sharma signing off. Take care, and once again, good morning India.